Dinking Around with Eddie and Webby was not filmed in front of a live studio audience. Hey everybody, this is Webby, not Eddie, and that guy over there is...
Eddie!
And this is Dinking Around. This is Dinking Around with Eddie and Webby. This is our post-podcast show. It doesn't always come after the regular podcast, but tonight it did. This is our post-podcast show after milestone episode number 75 of the Eddie and Webby show, and we're just dinking around.
Webby, I'm so confused. What's the difference between Dinking Around with Eddie and Webby versus the Eddie and Webby podcast?
You know what? I am very glad that you asked. It is just like the other podcast, but this one is unplanned, it is uncensored, and it is just totally there's another unword. I can't remember which one we normally use, but it's just it's unscripted. Unscripted?
And raw, baby.
Raw. That's the word I was really thinking of, raw. I mean, seriously, we have like really no plans. We just know we want to talk about more things. We have a couple topics in mind. We might have a guest join us, but we never know if it's actually going to work out. So it's just a fun time because we really seriously just BS with each other, talk about pickleball or whatever's going on in life, and it's usually a fun time. And even you can join us. If anybody watching us ever wants to be on the show, this is the time to join us. If you're tuning in live, if you send us a message and say you're interested in joining us, we can make it happen.
We can. And if you have comments or questions that come up during the evening, please feel free to throw them in there. We might even show some PG-13 questions.
Whoa.
We typically like to avoid those during the podcast because, you know, that's how we are. But who knows? You might even be able to use words like shoot or crud.
Oh, man.
And we're going to be okay with that because this is Dinking Around. It's like an after-hour show.
That's right. We won't even hit the dump button. We won't hit the censor button. Those words will make it on the air, uncensored.
When you went to broadcast school, like, did you have a dump button? And if so, like, how does that work?
So we didn't. I don't know if the technology just wasn't there or just because we were in school, people just assumed nobody was going to swear or go off on a tangent, but we did not have a dump button. But from what I understand, the way that it works is there's like a delay built in. So let's say you and I are live like we are right now. What we do might have like a 10 to 20 second delay compared to what's going out to the public. So like if we're talking and then we have a guest on and the guest all of a sudden drops an F-bomb, we can hit that dump button. And what that does is it like mutes it for a few seconds and then it actually kind of like gets rid of a little bit of the delay.
Okay.
So like if you have to use that dump button more than like 2 or 3 times, you're kind of screwed because you can't get rid of the stuff anymore because there's no more delay.
Is it like a buffer? Like a buffer? You got a buffer and then it makes the buffer shorter every time you hit it?
Yep. From what I understand, I never dealt with that, but that's what I was led to understand. I've never used it personally, but yeah, I believe that's what it was because I used to listen to the Howard Stern show all the time, and I do remember them talking about how like certain guests or certain callers were killing them because like they're like, dude, we can't. We've already used the dump button. We watch your mouth because we're gonna get FCC fines.
Well, Webby, guess what?
What?
I think our guest joined us.
No way. That could be like record time if that's legit.
That's right. Do you want to intro our guest here?
Yeah, so tonight it's milestone episode 75, so I thought it would be very awesome if one of our other milestones joined us tonight, and that is our very first guest that we ever had on the Eddie and Webby show, and that is our good buddy Andrew from Pickle Pints. How's it going, man?
Hello, gentlemen. How are we?
Awesome.
Yeah,
long
man.
time no
Good.
see. Glad to see you.
It's been good to see you guys too. How's it going?
It's going great. Like, man, it's like this is. I got to tell you, like this is probably the quickest anybody has ever been able to connect. Like on this Dinking Around show because we do this on the spot. Like we don't have time to test things out beforehand. This is on the spot, and you connected immediately. So big props to you. I love it.
Yeah, this is live action at its finest, I think.
That's right.
We're trying, man. Things have come a long way since episode, what was it, 14 or somewhere around 17 that you were on. So things have changed. Things have improved a lot, I would think.
That's good. I like to hear that. That's solid.
Yeah, do you remember when you were on the show? That's back when we used Skype and we recorded everything beforehand. So like you were connecting to us on Skype, we were recording, we were doing like a screen record and then like a separate audio record. Like we had an audio output coming from the audio, like the headphone jack, recording to a separate audio recorder, and then we would just combine everything into one and edit it after the fact. And it was so much work. It
So
was
much.
such a pain in the ass. It was crazy, but it
Feel,
was awesome though.
feel like there were
Like the final
there were
product
so
was
many
good.
issues. Yeah,
Mhm.
I'm glad that the first one got up. I remember feeling like I had wires coming out of my head for that thing.
Yeah, it was crazy,
And my
man.
kid, it's so funny. Like my kids still to this day give me so much grief because they said that I held the phone like this the whole time. Like they're like, Dad, like why are you so close to your face? Like, so yeah, they still give me grief about that. So I hope I'm doing a little bit better this time.
Oh, for
That's so
sure.
funny, man.
Nice.
Yeah, that
Well,
was
the funny
Good.
thing is, I
it was
I just recently upgraded my camera. Like what, like 4 or 5 episodes ago. Like for the longest time, I was using just a standard HD camera, and it was good. Like it was a decent camera. But the new one I'm using is so much better. Like I regret not going to it sooner. But it's just amazing how you live and you learn, and we grow as we go.
it
Yeah,
was
absolutely.
that was episode number 9 from
I
June
was gonna say I thought
28th.
it was nine,
Oh wow.
and I
Yeah,
think the
June.
other was, Party Girl Chica 420. I think it was like 14 or something like that. I don't
That's right.
remember.
Yeah, June 28th, 2018. We released
Wow.
episode number 9. Man, that's over 2 years ago. That's crazy.
Man, single digits. You were in the single digits, so you're definitely the. You are the. He is the OG guest right there.
That's
There will
right. That was
always
even
be.
My plug.
Uh, there can only be
yeah.
not one. There can only be one first, and this is him.
That's right. Yeah, there can only be one first guest on the whole
Yep,
show, and
that's
I'm
right.
happy to do that. Since then, I haven't really cut my hair, as you guys can tell.
I
Yep.
like
Since
it.
that day, he hasn't
Yeah.
cut his hair
Yeah,
since that first episode.
no, I mean basically, I mean that's what Corona does, right?
Right. Yeah. One thing I have shorter hair, but one thing I always notice is like it would grow here before anywhere else, and I would let it go for like 5-6 weeks, and I looked like I looked like grandpa, like a grandpa. They have the hair between like their neck and their shoulders, and that's when I was like, I gotta do something about this, man. Like I hate that is the most annoying thing in the world when you get that patch of hair right there.
Yep.
Yeah. So
And
what's been the good word?
I've definitely grown
Oh,
to
go ahead.
appreciate like getting your hair cut at an actual place because I've been cutting my own hair since Corona started, and it's
Yeah.
I definitely appreciate paying somebody to do it now.
One of the funniest things that I've seen in regards to haircutting since Corona started is a friend of mine. His wife is like a nationally known chef, but she's blind, and they did this fundraiser where if they raised like $1,000 or $2,000, that she was going to give him a haircut on Facebook Live. So that was really entertaining.
Oh, that's pretty cool. That's
Yeah, it was
hilarious.
good.
I can imagine the outcome of that would have been great.
Yeah, I think he may have gone like afterwards and gotten it a little touched up. But all things considered, I feel like she did a pretty good job.
That's funny. I was watching this YouTube
Yeah.
channel of this guy who his YouTube channel is all about like building different robots and things like that. And he created a robot that would give him a haircut, and basically it had like a vacuum attachment to grab it and then scissors, and it would like use radar to determine how far away from his head he was so he could set the length of it. And he would let it run for like 2 hours, man, and it did the worst job ever, but it was still interesting to see that happen.
So it's like it's a Floby like
Right.
2.0.
Yep. Exactly. It was
The
crazy.
Floby, I remember that. Did either of you
Those are
ever
the
try the
best.
Floby?
No.
I never tried the Floby, but I mean, yeah, that had to have given the worst bowl cut. Like it didn't even give you a
Right?
free bowl of soup, the haircut, but it was that bad.
And for anybody tuning in that doesn't know what the Flowbee is, basically it was an attachment that you add to your vacuum cleaner, and then you vacuum your hair, and it cuts your hair at the same time.
Yep. Oh yeah.
Yeah,
The
and it only had
Flowbee.
like one, like you could just do one. Yeah, it was the worst invention ever. Totally 80s. So
Yeah.
perfect for the 80s.
Oh yeah. That's great.
Oh man. So when I introduced you, I talked about how you were from Pickle and Pints. Do you mind refreshing everybody's memory? What exactly is Pickle and Pints?
Yeah, so in March of 2018, I got the wise idea to start trying to go to breweries in the Houston area that had enough room and set up pickleball courts for people to play on Saturdays and Sundays. And so yeah, it was crazy. The very last event that I had was my 2 year anniversary, which was in March, and then basically everything got shut down promptly in Houston and the surrounding counties like right after that. So I got my 2 year anniversary and have not been able to have one event since then because breweries have basically been shut down up until a couple of weeks ago, and they started opening them back up, but at like limited capacity.
Yeah, it was. I always thought it was a brilliant idea. Very unfortunate that that COVID has wreaked so much havoc on so many different businesses, especially breweries,
Yeah.
and then
Mm-hmm.
Pickle and Pints right now. So now that things are starting to open up, like, does it seem like you can maybe start doing some stuff? Because I know a lot of stuff that's outdoors usually is considered pretty safe. Like, are you able to start getting it back up and running again now,
So
or do you have to wait a
I've
bit longer?
had a
Or
couple I've had a couple of good conversations with like the events coordinators at the breweries, and they seem to think it'll probably be another couple of months until we can get back out there because just due to all the distancing that you have to have at breweries now, there's just no room. Like the places that I would usually set up, are just taken by people, distancing. So hopefully 2021, maybe before, we'll see. But I know that there's just going to be, I mean, I'm getting hit up on email and Instagram all the time with people going like, "Hey, when can we get back out there?" So there's going to be a ton of pent up demand for people wanting to be outside and athletic and getting that you know social nature back to their daily grind.
Yeah, I mean, it's so important that, once it's safe, we do that because I think people are starting to recognize now that yes, in some ways it's safer to be indoors, but if you're missing that social interaction, if you're missing that being outdoors, that exercise, that can have other long-lasting health effects on
Yeah,
you that
yeah,
that
effects
could
for sure.
and humans are social animals, man. Like at some point there just has to be a a look at the whole picture and say, yes, there's still a risk for all of these things, but it's like people got to get back to life. You know what I mean? And I hope that happens at the right time, and I
Yeah,
hope it's
whatever the
soon.
new normal looks like, and whenever that happens, we'll all be eagerly awaiting whatever that is.
Yeah,
yeah,
that's
for
a
sure. And I've got to tell you, here in Michigan, we were very hard hit, and we had a lot of very strict regulations as far as COVID stuff and restrictions go. But as far as outdoor pickleball, like it just blew up this year. I mean, this year, like the places that last year and 2 years ago, that used to never have people in the evenings or weekend mornings and stuff, almost always have people playing outdoor pickleball now. Like it really, outdoor pickleball blew up big time in Michigan, especially in Southeast Michigan where I'm at. I never once it was declared safe to play pickleball outdoors in like limited groups and stuff like that. Like it was, I never
Oh,
had issues finding people to play with. In years past, like it was struggled. Like it was pretty much people only played in the mornings or when people were at work. But people were just so desperate to get outdoors and do something that the pickleball courts were getting used at pretty much all times of the day. And I loved seeing that new courts got built, and it's just in some ways it helped pickleball. I mean, it as far as tournaments go, it definitely devastated pickleball because tournaments were getting
yeah,
canceled left and right.
Mhm.
But I feel like
yeah,
recreational as far as like new recreational pickleball players. I feel like that increased here where I'm at. I don't know about you guys where you're at.
Yeah, I mean, we Harris County, which is where Houston is they we were on lockdown for a while, and then the county orders are still basically the same as they were when things were really really bad towards the end of, I guess, like July, and into August. So they haven't really lifted the restrictions. I know that I've been out, trying to get outside and do whatever we can. But at the same time, like it's really no different. I know that my business partner has continued to play through everything, which is great. Um, but yeah, I feel like the weather's starting to get nice here. Finally, we're not in the 90s and hundreds. So
Yeah.
hopefully, that band can get reduced a little bit, and people can kind of get back out there. A lot of the places the tennis nets are still down. Where they, if it was a neighborhood or subdivision court, like they just took the nets down. So yeah, more to come on that for sure.
Interesting. I'm actually surprised to hear that down in Texas because I'm here in Michigan and like for the most part we're pretty like we were pretty hard hit and there were a lot of restrictions, but a lot of outdoor courts were able to open up like 3 or so months ago. So I'm actually surprised to hear that about Texas. That's interesting.
Yeah. Yep. What's on the horizon for you guys? I got a couple more minutes, and then I got to jet off to my daughter's softball game.
Well, man, I don't know. So many cool things going on. Obviously, podcast is still up and going, which has been a blast. Got to go to the APP event in Grand Rapids back in July or August, wasn't that, Webby? Mid-August?
Yeah, that was awesome. That was the first time Eddie and I were together in person
Yeah.
since February when I went down to Naples for the what was it called?
Florida Grand Slam.
Yeah, the Florida Grand Slam. Sorry, I've had a couple tall boys, and that was a long time ago, so my memory isn't as good as it used to be. But but yeah, we hadn't been together since February. We finally got together in Grand Rapids at Belknap Park for the APP event. That was awesome. Man, so much good stuff was supposed to happen this year. I hope it gets to happen in 2021. Eddie's got some very exciting stuff coming up very soon. I don't think we can really talk about it quite yet, but stay tuned because we got some very great things on the horizon. I did a couple of 4.0 tournaments with the Wolverine Pickleball group in Ann Arbor. I did a 4.0 mixed and a 4.0 doubles tournament. That was awesome. I recently did a dinking tournament. It was called the Dink Battle. It was very unique. I recently posted a video about it. They actually got very mixed reviews. We're probably going to talk about that after you
Yeah.
after you disconnect from us. We're going to talk about that in depth. But it was a dinking only tournament, and the kitchen area was the boundary lines. So if you hit
Okay.
outside of the kitchen area, it was considered out of bounds. It was very fun. It was a very fun tournament. It was tough though. Like it's very hard to get in the mindset to like not like if somebody like pops up a ball, like it's so hard to resist the urge to slam that ball. But if you slam it, you're probably not going to land the ball into the kitchen area. So it was interesting. It was very cool. I'll talk about that in depth in a little bit. And I did a clinic with Riley Newman recently, and I had the cameras rolling for that. So a lot of big things coming up for the Eddie and Webby channel. Uh, yeah, that's all I got for now. What about you, Eddie? Anything else
No,
you can talk about?
that's fantastic.
Good stuff. Yeah, actually, I got a
Uh,
question for you, Andrew. This is the most important
yeah,
question of
what's
the
up?
night. What is your take on pumpkin beers? Because both Webby and I drank pumpkin beers tonight.
So
And
it's funny. I had a Bell's Best Brown just about an hour ago, and that was quality. I remember
Yep.
being on it was either the first or the second time, and I had the pumpkin. I had an Imperial Pumpkin Stout from St.
Mhm.
Arnold's, which is the biggest brewery here in Houston. So. I think if done right, they're really good. Otherwise, they can kind of get a little sweet and a little funky sometimes.
Mhm. I
For me,
agree.
but I would give a thumbs up to a pumpkin beer.
Okay. What one thing that I always wish the breweries would clarify when they make a pumpkin beer is this a pumpkin beer or is this a pumpkin spice beer? Because there's a lot of
Right,
pumpkin beers out there that don't even have any pumpkin in them, and it's just it's almost like pumpkin pie spice, which if you
right,
get like a pumpkin spice latte, that's all it is. There's no pumpkin in a pumpkin spice latte. It's just all the spices they add to in the dessert
right.
form of it. And I don't like that breweries don't specify that. Like what's New Holland? Is it Ichabod? Is that the name of that one? Their pumpkin beer? I don't know if
I
you guys.
believe so.
I'm
That
not
that
sure.
sounds about right.
Well, anyway, they're um that's a pumpkin beer. It's not necessarily a pumpkin spice beer. And so I wish breweries would specify which one it is when they put the label out there.
Yeah, yeah. We should start that movement.
We should. We should. We're gonna get protests together. We're gonna go to all the breweries and we're gonna get a formal complaint against them.
Exactly. You can't brew a pumpkin beer unless it's Eddie and Webby / Pickle and Pint certified.
But that's right, man.
We're gonna need shipments of all of it to all
Yes,
3 locations in order to do that. I think that's the caveat there.
I think that's a great idea. We can taste them all, make sure that they're up to the standards, and if there's
Yeah,
any pumpkin spice in a pumpkin beer, no. If there's
not getting it.
yeah, they're not going to do it.
I'm with it. What
Yeah.
happened to our boy? Did he drop off?
So usually a couple hours into the live stream, one of us has to go to the bathroom, and so he would just they take off. So
Gotcha.
it'll be my turn soon, but Webby's doing that now.
I like it.
Yeah, good stuff. What any new beers that you've been getting into lately? Any new styles? I know that my styles change constantly, so
Yeah, so there's a brewery in Fort Worth called Martin House, and they really got put on the map. They put out a pickle beer last year where they worked with Best Made Pickles and used like I don't know how they made it, but it was like getting hit in the face with I'm not even gonna say it, but
yeah.
yeah, it was just like the most pickly beer that you could ever imagine. And then just recently, they put out a Bloody Mary pickle beer.
Mm.
And I was lucky
Hmm.
enough to get one of those on a camping trip last weekend, and it was phenomenal. Like, I mean, you could probably only drink 2 of them until your palate would get blown off. But it was so good and totally approachable with vodka as well.
All right. Yeah, as I say, it seems like a good morning or brunch type of beer.
Yep, exactly. That's exactly what it was. So yeah, that was the newest thing for me where I was like, wow, that's phenomenal. Like it, and now I'm on the hunt for it here in Houston because they don't have any distribution down here. The brewery doesn't, so they literally drive a truck down like every other week with all the different beer shops orders and just deliver it that way. So it's like as soon as they get it, it sells out like that day.
That's cool. I've never
Nice.
had Webby. Have you had? I've had a bloody beer before, but I've never had a pickle beer before. Have you?
No, same thing. I've had a bloody beer. I've never had a pickle beer. I think I would like it though because, to be honest, shortly after I started playing pickleball, somebody told me like a great way to get rehydrated and or prevent cramps was to drink pickle juice.
Yeah.
So I actually started
Yep.
doing that. Like after I played, or sometimes during, if I took some with me, I would drink pickle juice, and it got to the point where I actually like craved it and I liked it. So if it wasn't too artificial tasting, I think I might actually like a pickle flavored beer.
Yeah, it was not artificial at all. I mean, they definitely paired with Best Made Pickles, which is like a
Okay.
nationally distributed pickle company, and worked and got their like the brine. I don't know exactly how they did it, but it was top notch.
Nice. Yeah, I would absolutely try that, and I probably would like it. I know you said it. It was like you got slapped in the face by a pickle, or you implied that you didn't
I
actually
didn't.
say that. But so you liked it though. You thought it tasted good.
Yeah, no, it was solid. It was spicy enough and
Nice.
pickly enough. So yeah, if you can find it out there, I mean, it would probably just be be with a beer trade or somebody was lucky enough to get it out of the state. But Martin House Brewing out of Fort Worth, check them out. They do some really, really cool stuff.
Very nice. Yeah, I feel like I would absolutely love that. Um, Man, I know. So this year was supposed to be the year of challenges for Eddie and I. We got so many different challenges. You were one of the people that challenged us to Eddie and Webby versus the Pickle and Pints crew. So
Yep.
hopefully, yeah, hope we haven't forgotten about that. So hopefully, the year 2021 we can fulfill all these challenges. Because I'm not kidding. We've got at least 6 different big time challenges that were placed against us. Neither of us are like we both love challenges. We will not back down from a challenge. So Eddie, I was telling Andrew here, like we do not back down from a challenge. We've got a bunch of challenges placed against us. So we were hoping this year would be the year of challenges, but 2021 is going to be the year of Eddie and Webby versus the world challenges.
I like it.
Yeah.
Well, boys, I got a softball game to get to, so I'm going to leave it here with you. But thank you for having me on the magical 75th episode. I really appreciate you.
Thanks, man. It's good. Good to see you, man. Good catching up, and hopefully we'll get to see you again soon.
Yeah, absolutely. Stay in touch.
See you, man.
All right, take it easy.
See you, boys. Take it easy.
See ya. Man, awesome. I can't think of a better night to have, I can't think of a better person to have on this night with us here. We had milestone episode 75 of the Eddie and Webby show earlier today. Tonight we have Dinking around. I don't even know what episode number we're on with that, but it's getting up there.
30.
Yeah.
Well, here's one thing I love about Andrew, right? Is that he's the kind of guy that, you could see after a year and a half, almost 2 years, and it's just like, yeah, just like back to old times, I mean, it's just,
yeah,
he's such a cool, easygoing, relatable, fun kind of guy. And that was cool, man. It was good to hear from him. It really, I mean, COVID sucks, we can all admit that, but the impact that it has is, on businesses like Pickle and Pints, I didn't even think about. I mean, that's basically like a showstopper. Like you literally cannot operate.
Yeah, and that's very unfortunate. Like I was hoping like they were able to at least like the last month or two to keep going, but yeah, unfortunately where he's at, like it's very strict regulations to where he can't continue. Because like in some states, as long as it's outdoors and you don't have a ton of people, it's okay to proceed as long as you're safe about it and stuff like that. But yeah, I know some places are very very cautious and pretty much putting a hard stop on a lot of things. So it's very, very unfortunate to hear. So hopefully things can get back on track because I know they were really growing and things were getting really good for their organization. So hopefully next year things get more back to normal. Hopefully they can increase what's going on because they had a great thing going, and I can't wait to be able to meet him in person because it's crazy because I feel like we're like really good friends with him, but we've never actually met face to face in person. That's like the beauty of the show is like we've met so many people that we've never met in person, but I feel like we're very good friends and we know them personally.
Is there anybody that we've had on the show that you've then met in person that either looked different than you thought they would or just kind of came off different than they did when we had them on the podcast?
Not that I can think of. Like I feel like everybody has been super nice that I've met in person. No, I can't think of anybody that was like we can't think of anybody that was like totally different. What about you? Do you have anybody in mind that was way different in person like once we met them?
Yeah, so Tyson Mcguffin was taller in person than I felt like it, that he was when I saw him on video before. And I had met him in person before he was on the podcast, but he's taller in real life than I think he came across from video. So that was one thing that I noticed. And Riley Newman was also taller in real life than I thought he was. I knew he was going to be tall, but he also came across as much taller. So
yeah, so you're saying that actually reminded me. I didn't feel that about Tyson, but Riley absolutely. he's a friggin' giant in person. Like
Yep.
when I did the clinic with him recently, and I had met him before in person. For some reason I don't remember him being so tall, but when I did the clinic with him, like it was funny because I had the camera with me, so he did the intro and the outro with me. So I had to like position the camera to where I could get both of us in shot. And it was tough because like I'm a lot shorter than Riley
Right.
is. So like I had to like back the camera up because I needed to make sure I got his head in the shot without getting cut off, and then me not getting cut off at the bottom of the shot. So yeah, Riley absolutely was way taller than I expected when I did the clinic with him not too long ago.
Yeah, it's weird how it's just sometimes when you see people in person, it totally you get such a different feel from them than when you see them on video, or even if you interact with them over virtual means like what we do. And I'm sure that think about, and I think this is crazy, but you're used to working from home in your full-time job, and I've been full-time remote in my job now for going on over 6 years. So we're kind of used to bridging that gap between seeing people in person and then seeing them virtually,
Yeah.
consistently, right?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Imagine if you're somebody and let's say you started at a company 6 months ago and you're 100% virtual. And then in, let's say 6 months, now you're going to go back to the office and you're going to meet a lot of these people face to face for the first time. But not only are you going to meet them face to face, but a lot of people are going to be meeting each other face to face for the first time. That's
Yeah.
going to be weird, man. It's going to
Oh yeah.
I think that's going to it changes everything. And I think that's going to be a weird experience for a lot of people.
Oh yeah. Especially where I work, we hired a whole bunch of new people, and it's crazy to think that a bunch of people on the team I work on I've never met face to face. And yeah, I do think it's going to be very odd. Like once we do go back into the office and meet face to face, like it's going to be different. That's for sure.
Yep. Real quick, Tim Rogan piped in and said, I just met Tyson and Riley in Atlanta. Tyson was taller than I thought he was from seeing him in video as well. Both incredibly great, friendly guys. Totally agree, man. They're both class acts and good people. Good peeps.
Yeah, I 100% agree. I've met both of them in person. Both of them super, super nice. They both went on the show. Like it was awesome. Um, I love that team. I love the team of Riley and Tyson. Like they're so intense. Like both of them are like two of the most competitive people I've ever met. Like off the court, super, super nice. On the court, you don't want to mess with them. Like they're in the zone.
Yep.
Just stay clear. Wait till the match is over if you want to talk to them, because they are laser focused on the match and absolutely destroying the person on the other side.
Yeah, I mean, they just started playing together within the last year, and they are very quickly getting themselves to those final matches pretty consistently and
Yep.
winning them. I mean, they took out Ben and Matt twice now, I believe. It's either once or twice. I can't remember. I want to say it's 2 times though in the past 4 months or so. And they're definitely becoming a force to reckon with, which is great.
Absolutely. I love it. Yeah, it's a great great matchup, and I hope it continues for a while because it's definitely taking the pickleball world by storm. No doubt about that.
Yeah. But we were talking about like how people come across differently when you see them on video or interact with them virtually. Think about if like Callie, for example, if you would only see video of her on the court, you'd probably think she was like I don't know what's the word I want to look for, like pretty rough around the edges off the court, like a hard ass basically. And then you meet her off the court and she's like the nicest person in the world. So
right.
It's interesting. Very interesting.
And she might even break out in song out of nowhere because she's such a great singer.
By the way, that was so cool. Like how amazing was that
oh my God.
She actually broke out in song on the show earlier.
Yeah, if anybody tuning in didn't watch episode 75 of the Eddie and Webby show, you've got to do it because somebody that was tuning in left a message talking about how great of a singer she was. So I brought that up and I jokingly said, okay, well now Callie's going to do a song for us. And she was like, okay, I'll do a song. and she sang a song for us. It was friggin' incredible.
It was Vivian David who
Yeah,
left the
that's right.
comment. One of the amazing David sisters. Vivian David's the one that just totally dominated last year in women's singles at World Pickleball Championship and
Yeah.
destroyed Lucy in the gold medal match. Just smoked her. I've never seen anything like that in a singles match in my life on the pro level, and that was incredible.
Yeah, and that's the kind of thing I love. I love when like a name that like isn't super well known comes out there and just dominates and just shakes up the pro
Yep.
world. Like stuff like that I love and I live for, and that was great to see. And I just I hope more and more of that kind of thing happens because that just it makes things more interesting.
So do you think there's going to come a point where, and I don't even know how to say this because I'm big fans of them both, and I consider one of them to be a really good friend of mine, but do you think there's going to come a time when people are going to get sick of Ben and Simone constantly winning?
I feel like we're already at that point for some people. I mean, like I love watching the two of them play, but I have heard people say that like it's unfair and they just don't. They're getting bored of it because they're both so good. I personally love it because I feel like it makes other people play even better when there's like such a dominant team out there. Like I feel like there's nothing like how like it's such a motivating thing to like want to be able to beat this team that seems unbeatable. I don't know about
What?
you, but like I
Yeah.
feel that way anyway.
Well, I think it is hard. It is really hard to tell just because I think that you and I have a different lens on both of them as individuals. We have different relationships with them. So it's hard to it's hard to separate that out, but to me it's like it's much harder to stay on top than it is to get to the top, right? And the fact
Hmm.
that they're still able to, with all the stuff they have going on, right? Ben with school and with his business and all of the other stuff still dominating. Simone with her business, her brand, two kids, play. I mean, and they're still dominating. It's like there's got to be something that they have and that they're continuing to do and light the fire of to maintain that top spot consistently. And don't get me wrong, every third or fourth tournament, they might lose a match, go down to silver medal, but for the most part, they're always on top.
Hmm. Well, so it kind of reminds me. I'm currently watching the Netflix series The Last Dance, which is about Michael Jordan's final years in the NBA, and so it talks a lot about the Chicago Bulls and the run of the Chicago Bulls when Michael Jordan was part of the team. And I do feel like when you're like a dynasty or like a very dominant team, I feel like that just fuels all the other teams to be better and they just want to do their absolute best. And once you have that championship, it's like, okay, we got the championship. Where do we find the
Yep.
drive to maintain the skills necessary to keep this championship and stuff like that? So I agree with what you said. Like I feel like it's way harder to stay on top than to be good enough to win the gold medal at the tournament that you're at that moment.
Yeah, it's crazy to me, man. Like I'm so impressed by their ability to just constantly stay at the top
Hmm.
like that. And, Simone, I mean, she has just stepped up her exercise game. She stepped up her level of play because she knows that there are a lot of very impressive players that are coming after her. And she knows that she needs to work twice as hard to stay there as they do to get there, which is it's evident in what she's doing.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's good
I
stuff.
uh, I def I definitely can't relate. I can't remember the last time I won anything in pickleball.
I picked myself up a little bit of a bronze medal a week and a half ago in men's 3.5 singles.
Oh, nice. That's very
Yep.
nice. Yeah, singles is no joke. That's definitely something to be proud of.
Yeah, I went 4-2 for the day. The two people I lost to were the gold and silver medalists. It kind of it's kind of ironic. I lost to a 80-year-old who took silver, and I lost to a rabbi who took gold. So he wanted me to make sure that I told everybody that I lost to a rabbi. But he had
Nice.
the big guy upstairs looking after him, so I felt like he had a
Right.
few advantages. But it was
Right.
fun, man. You know what's funny is that I love playing singles, but it's so hard for me to get people to play singles against in my area, and hardly anybody ever wants to do it. So it's a hard thing to get good practice with.
Yeah, I 100% agree. Like I mentioned earlier, like once COVID hit, Michigan got like shut down and locked down like all together for a while, and then finally, when it was okay to start doing stuff, it was very limited. And singles was one thing that we were able to play, so I really got into the singles game, and yeah, it was very hard to find people to play singles with. I know like maybe 3 or 4 people that really like singles that I can play with, but like to find the like schedules that worked for all of us to join to meet up and play and stuff, it didn't work out super consistently. But it's a bummer because I am really growing to love singles, and I wish more people liked it. But yeah, a lot of people just don't like playing singles.
Yeah, it's hard to play. I almost, and I think I'm going to do this. I think I'm going to reach out to there's a couple of Facebook groups for people in the East Naples area, and I'm going to set up and say, hey, are there any 3.5 to 4 level singles players, between the ages of, I don't know, 20 and 60 that would want to get together one night a week, and basically we're committing that we're just going to focus on singles and drilling and playing. And I think if we could do that, it would really help a lot. Now, my neighbor Denny, who he's up in Columbus right now, hopefully he'll be coming back soon. He's a 4-5 men's singles player, and I love playing against him because he focuses a lot on getting to the ball placement. He's a lefty, so he shows me a whole different shot pattern. And the time that I spent with him has probably helped my game increase way more than any other practice I've gotten in. He'll be down soon, so hopefully I'll be able to get a chance to play singles against him some more. And him and I alternate between skinny singles and regular singles, so that should be good practice as well.
Nice. Yeah, I'm pretty bummed. The one person that like the probably the best singles person that I knew that would take the time to meet up with me and play. He's actually somebody that helped me train for the Eddie versus Webby singles match that we did.
Yeah.
Rick, um, he recently moved down to Florida. I think he's in the Naples area,
No way.
and I'm super bummed about it because, or no, actually, I think he's in the Villages. Like
Okay.
where are the Villages compared to Naples? Is that far?
It's about
Or
3.5
not?
hours north of here. Yeah, it's in
Okay.
Ocala. Yep.
Yeah, I think he's in the Villages area, but man, I miss having him around because he loved playing singles and he's really good at it. I think he's 4-5 level player, and I wished I would have started playing with him sooner before our Eddie versus Webby singles match because he gave me some great tips. But it was literally a day before you and I played our match that we played,
Right.
and I think if I would have worked with him like at least a week or two before our match, it would have had a different outcome. It was a pretty close match, though. I mean, like you didn't beat me super easily. I felt that was a very fun Eddie versus Webby outing. But yeah, like I really want to find some high level players that are willing to play with me regularly, so I can get better. Because there's nothing better than playing against somebody that's better than you.
That's for sure. Have you ever done a skinny singles tournament?
No, I never have. I would love to because I love skinny singles. I would love to do a tournament like that.
I did. It was a 4-0, 4-5 combined at East Naples. It was the day before singles, so the Saturday was skinny singles. And that was a very, very interesting tournament. I would definitely do it again. It was a lot of fun. There are some serious advantages to not having a partner, but there's also some serious disadvantages. And
Yeah.
it became very evident to me where those both lie. Um, And to me, it's like, you show up to a tournament when you have a partner, you're able to kind of coach each other up, keep each other going and everything like that. But then when you're on the court, you really do got to mesh well together. You got to have the right chemistry. You got to know what you're doing. You have to have some experience playing together. You have to recognize when your partner is upset and build them up. They need to recognize there's a lot of dynamics that goes into that you don't have to think about when it's singles or skinny singles. But you also don't have all the advantages to that. Like, what are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I 100% agree. Like the times that I've played singles and skinny singles, I felt like, wow, this is nice. I don't have to rely on somebody else. There's never a chance. There's never a time where we're like fighting to go for the shot because I think it's my shot, they think it's their shot, and stuff like that. So definitely advantages. But yeah, I agree. Like there's times where I play singles where like, oh man, if I had a partner, they would have got that shot and stuff like
Right.
that. So yeah, I 100% agree.
Yeah, it was very, very interesting, but a lot of fun. And I love skinny singles. It's how I like to drill. I always like to end my drilling with competitive skinny singles. So, and I learned this from Simone. It's when you drill to make your partner better. You give them the
Hmm.
shots that they can practice in order to be able to improve, and you give them the confidence. But then when you go to skinny singles, it's like you got to practice like it's tournament time, and so you want to push each other and go hard at each other. And I always love to end my drilling sessions with skinny singles.
Yeah. Yeah, I love skinny singles. Something surprising that I encountered over the summer, like especially towards the beginning of COVID, like after COVID started and things were finally starting to open back up, and like singles was the main thing. I found that people would rather play full court singles than skinny singles. It was almost like some people got offended if I asked if they wanted to play skinny singles. It was like they felt like, oh, you don't think I'm good enough to play full court singles? You want to play skinny singles?
Well,
That's like for your grandpa to play and stuff like that. It's like I didn't get that.
I think they're not looking at it right. I think skinny singles is a way for you to practice with one other person that is more similar to a doubles game than a singles game.
Yeah, exactly. That's how I felt too. But I feel like some people they just think that skinny singles is for people that aren't good enough to play regular singles, but that's
Yeah,
absolutely not the case.
and I think sometimes, and I don't know if you're guilty of this or not, but I know that I definitely am. I forget when I go to rec play sometimes, which I don't typically go to like new areas and just play with a bunch of strangers for rec play. But when I do, I forget the fact that most of them don't play tournaments. Most of them don't know the pros. Most of them don't even know that there's a freaking pro circuit out there. Most of
Right.
them are there because it's a good workout and they want to smack the ball around and be able to enjoy themselves. And so
Yeah.
I know I'm guilty of like sometimes like how do you not know that, or why wouldn't you want to
Hmm.
play that, or why do you keep hitting that stupid shot? Quit driving to my forehand over the freaking middle. I'm gonna put it at your feet every single time. And I got to
Right.
remember, it's just because they don't know, and they're there for different reasons than why I'm there.
Yeah, and that's one of the things that I love so much about pickleball. Like it's for a huge variety of people. Some people want to get better so they can do tournaments. Some people just do it for rec play only. Some people just do it for a way of getting some exercise. I mean, I love the fact that a whole bunch of different people with different goals in mind can play this sport. And like you said, you gotta keep in mind that you gotta know your audience pretty much. Like if you go play at this place, it might be a majority playing for this reason. If you go play at this place, they're playing for a different reason. Stuff like that. So,
Yeah.
I mean, it's one of the beauties of the sport of pickleball. Um, but definitely try to figure out and know the audience of where you're playing. I think.
Yeah. Speaking of the audience of where you're playing, you just did, and I know you talked about it a little bit earlier, a dinking tournament, man, and I'm kind of fascinated by this. Can you talk about that a little bit more?
Yes. So Wolverine Pickleball, which is based out of Ann Arbor, Michigan, they recently did what was called the Dink Dink Battle Tournament, and it was literally a dinking tournament. So the kitchen area, that was the boundaries. So the kitchen line that you stand at, if you hit the ball beyond the kitchen line, it's out of bounds. And they taped out the middle of the court so that there was a line going through the middle of the kitchen, so you knew like when you're serving, you got to make sure you serve it beyond that line and so on.
Kind of like skinny
Um,
singles, right? Like where there's
yeah,
a line down the middle. Yeah.
Yep, exactly. And like I wasn't sure what to expect going into it, but I've got to tell you, it was super fun and it was tough. It was a lot tougher than I expected. Like it's so hard, especially if your opponent kind of pops the ball up. It's so hard to resist the urge to do a put away. But if you do a put away, that thing's going to go out of bounds most likely,
What if you hit the
unless you
person?
really yeah, so that's one thing. You could hit the person and get the point. Unfortunately, I never attempted that. I was too nervous to try that because I just knew if my aim wasn't spot on and if they were quick enough to dodge out of the way, then that was a point for them. So I never did it. I wish I would have. But yeah, I mean I asked that beforehand. That was totally legal. If you body bagged your opponent, that was a point for you.
Yeah. Well,
Um,
did you see that happen at all outside of your matches?
No, I did not see that. It might have happened, but none of the matches I watched it happened, and it never happened in any of those.
Well, because the
But
other thing too, I
like,
was thinking is that like if you try to body bag someone, that it's hard to get out of the way, so your reaction is going to be to put your paddle out. But if I'm hitting it hard at you and I miss your body and I hit your paddle, where's that ball going? It's going 3 feet behind me, which means as long
yeah,
as I can get out of the ball that way, then that's our point.
right.
So I'm surprised that didn't happen more. But I guess some people might not think that's a sportsman like thing to do. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean there were a couple teams that I definitely wouldn't have felt bad doing that during, but there were other teams that I probably would have felt bad attempting that at. But it was fun though. Like it was surprisingly intense. I mean, so I posted a full match in the pickleball forum because a lot of people, like a whole bunch of people, when they found out that I did that tournament, they were like, "Oh wow, what's that like?" Like I would love to see a full match of what that was like and stuff like that. So I was like, okay, I didn't release the highlight video yet, but I released a full match from that tournament, and it's pretty crazy. It's gotten quite a few views and a lot of very mixed reactions. A lot of people love it. A lot of people thought it was like super stupid and like very, very boring. Like they would never even consider doing a tournament like that. And to be honest, when I hear people bash it, I think one of two things. One, I think that they're a banger and they're afraid that they wouldn't do any good at a dinking tournament. Or two, the people that said like, well, so I take that back. Like the reason that I feel like a lot of people that said it would be boring, like they've never even attempted that kind of thing. So like I feel like they
Right.
have no real right to say it's boring. Like just the thought of it is boring to them. But have you done it? If you haven't done it, I feel like you don't have the right to say that it's boring until you've experienced it. I don't know. Maybe
Well,
that's just me.
but don't they drill that way? I mean, I don't know about you, but I spend a lot of my time, probably upwards of 10 minutes in a drilling session minimum on forehand and 10 minutes minimum on backhand drilling. So how's it any different? It's still the same. It's the same thing. And we even do a lot of things where if I'm up at my courts and if I'm playing with people who are maybe not at my skill level and are bangers and they don't get themselves into the strategy of the dink, we'll play where the first 5 shots, everybody starts the match like normal. You're standing at the kitchen line and the first 5 shots have to land in the kitchen line. And from there, it's fair game. It's like that is such an important thing to drill. Why wouldn't you want to do a dinking competition? It sounds like
Yeah.
fun.
Yeah. It was very fun. Like I loved it. And, but yeah, I totally agree with you. Like it's crazy that people are so quick to bash it and say that it's boring. A lot of the people we got a lot of comments on the YouTube video that I posted, and some people said, "Oh, well, I drill like that, but I would never do a tournament like that."
What?
Why? If you drill
Why?
like that, you should be awesome at it.
Yeah.
It's a lot harder than people think. So like I feel like when a lot of people drill, they don't care if they hit the ball like beyond the kitchen line. Like, oh well, let's just keep the drill going, stuff like that.
Well, and I don't mean to stop you, but in all fairness, if I'm drilling, and I'm trying to give my opponent, like let's say I'm drilling with like my men's partner Mark, he's a solid player. When I'm drilling my dinks against him, I'm giving him offensive dinks. So I'm drilling at his feet. That ball a lot of times is landing outside of the kitchen at his
Hmm.
feet, forcing him to either take it out of the air or to have to back up to be able to get it, because that's
Yeah.
a good strategic thing to play. But what you're saying is in the tournament you did, that's not going to work.
Right, exactly. And if you watch the video that we posted recently, there was one play that, like, at first glance, it looked like I just made a stupid move. Like I took a step backwards, and then I hit the ball and I hit it into the net. But the only reason I took a step backwards is because I thought the opponent was hitting the ball out of bounds. Like I was like, oh, this is going to land out. So I like took a step back
Yeah.
to let it go out of bounds, but it didn't land out of bounds. So then I had to recover it, and then I hit it into the net. So it's like at first glance, I was like, oh man, what a stupid shot I made. But then if you listen to the audio, I was like, oh man, like I thought that was going out, but it hit the line. So it like made me feel a little better about what I did. But it's tough. Like it was not easy. It was very challenging, but that's why I loved it so much. And I would absolutely do a dinking only tournament again, because it was a lot of fun. It definitely wasn't nearly as much cardio as like a regular tournament. So like after the tournament was done, I was like, hey, anybody want to play some like regular games now? And then we played some games, but my legs were on fire for a while, like that, like because you're in the crouching period for so much longer than a normal game. And so it was a great leg workout, that's for sure.
Have you ever done the dinking drill where it's full court dinking? But not I don't mean full court as in you still only have the kitchen, but it's like full kitchen where you don't have, it's just you and another person and you don't have to do like skinny dinking.
I've done that a couple times, not a lot though, but and then my daughter and we've done that a couple times, but I would like to do that more, because that's like you got a lot more ground to cover.
That one kills. I mean, if you think your legs are burning, like do that for a half hour and it's, oh my God, it's, your legs are burning after that.
Yeah. Well, it's funny you mentioned that, because I've been putting a lot of thought into the next Eddie versus Webby match.
Yeah.
And we've always had we've always had an agreement to where whoever lost the previous match, they pick the stipulation for the next match, whether it be a mixed match, a doubles match, singles, skinny singles, and so on. So for the next Eddie versus Webby match, we're going to be playing for this bad boy right here. This is the new and improved Eddie versus Webby championship belt. This thing is badass. Like the video does not do it justice. If you see this thing in person, this thing is sexy. This thing is awesome. It's huge. It's like regulation size, like World Boxing Championship, WWF Heavyweight Championship. It's that type of belt material. That's what we'll be playing for this one next. And part of me thinks we should do a dinking tournament, a singles dinking tournament. What do you think about that?
I love the idea. I also love the idea of whoever lost the last one gets to pick the terms as long as they're fair. And that one seems fair to me. Are you thinking we would do skinny or full court dinking?
Oh, man. So at the moment, I think I'm leaning towards full court. I haven't played that version a lot, but it sounds like a lot of fun. It sounds like it would be tough. I'm thinking full court dinking.
Okay.
Battle. What do you think about that?
I like it. I want to ask you how you feel about one stipulation.
Okay, what's that?
When I did the skinny singles tournament a week and a half ago, they called it sick trick skinny singles. And what that means is if both of us are even or both of us are odd, that means that we're playing on opposite ends of the court in skinny singles, right?
Okay.
You had the ability to do an ATP as long as it went around the post, not over it, but around the post and landed in the non-playing court.
Ooh, okay.
And so I'm wondering if we do a dinking tournament, I think we should add the sick tricks overlay. And that means if I push you wide or you push me wide, and we're able to do an ATP, a legitimate ATP, not over the post, 100% around the post, and it lands on the court outside of the kitchen, I think that should count as a point.
Okay. All right.
How do you feel about
I'm
that?
down with that. Yeah,
Okay.
I like it. As a matter of fact, like there were a couple times during the Dinking tournament that we did where I'm pretty sure I could have gotten an ATP, but I just didn't know if I could keep it like in the boundaries of the kitchen.
That would be tough to
So
do. Yeah.
yeah, it's very tough to try to do. Yeah, I'm down with that.
Okay. So
I
full
like it.
court dinking tournament, but you can do an ATP outside of the kitchen, but it has to be legitimate ATP.
Yes.
Okay.
I'm down with that. I like that. Um, and then I would say definitely body bagging is a legitimate way to
Encouraged.
get a point, right? Yep, encouraged.
Yep.
Should we say it's worth 2 points? What about that? Would that be too extreme? Would that
Ooh,
be too crazy?
damn.
Like I kind of like the idea, like rewarding somebody for pulling off a successful body bag shot.
Oh man. 2-pointer. God, that's pretty interesting. I don't know. Anybody out there listening live, what do you guys think? Should we double the points? And are we saying this is going to be 2 games, 2-11, win by 1, or best of 3,
Uh,
or best 2 out of
best
3?
of three. Best of three. I always like win by 2. What do you think? Win by 2?
Oh yeah, I'm sorry. Yeah, that's that.
Yeah.
I said I meant win by 2. Yep.
Okay. Yeah. Best of 3. Win by 2. Body bags worth 2 points. I think that could make things interesting and unique. And the reason I like it is because there's risk involved. There's risk involved going with a body bag shot because if your opponent is quick enough to dodge, or if your aim isn't spot on, that's a point for the other person, pretty much, or they lose or you lose the serve.
How about this? It's 2 points for a body bag, but if you attempt a body bag and the opponent is able to get their paddle on it, as long as it lands anywhere in the court, it's a side out, or it's a point for the opponent you tried to body bag. So think about that scenario. You're trying to go for a 2-pointer, but I block it and it lands anywhere in on the court, then that's my point.
But wouldn't that like if you did that, wouldn't that just be it would just keep it in play, wouldn't it?
Well, no, because it's
you mean like
dinking.
if you mean if you land it like even if it's beyond the kitchen line? That's what you're
Yep.
saying. Okay. Yeah, I'd be down with that. I think
now you can return it. Like if you're
Yeah,
able
yeah.
to like
Right.
run back
just
and
keeps
get it.
keeps it in play. Keeps it in play. I like that.
Yeah, it basically
with
keeps
that,
the ball in play. So that way it's like, yeah, you can try and body bag me, but if I block it anywhere on the court, that ball's still in play.
Yeah. I like it.
Okay.
Let's do it.
All right. So ATPs are in.
Yep.
Body
No
bags
matter
are
where
2
they
points.
land, no matter where they land, as long as they're inbounds, the ATP, as long as it's a legitimate ATP, it counts.
What if you try and body bag me and I block it and it lands out of the court? Is that 2 points? Or does it have to be you successfully hit me and I don't even get a paddle on it at all?
Now we're getting pretty crazy here. Let's see. Oh man, that's a good question though. Well, does it even count as a body bag though? If your paddle, if it hits your paddle, so yeah, like it's got to be a legitimate body, like it's got to hit you in the body for it to be the 2-pointer.
So nothing from the wrist up. So
right.
Okay, so if
or nothing from the paddle up. Yeah.
Well, but
or like if it hits your hand,
yeah,
that's holding the paddle. Yeah, that's
a legitimate shot.
Yeah, not a body bag. Yeah.
Okay. All right. So full court singles, dinking. 2 points for a successful body bag. Only 1 point if it's I return it, but I return it out of bounds. However, it's fair game if I return it and it lands anywhere on the court.
Yes.
Okay. And I don't mean me. I mean, like, if I did that
either
to you,
of us.
same rule.
Yeah, either of us. Yep.
Now, last time we talked about integrating beer into our match. Should we still do that, or should we just keep it?
Ooh.
Sober
That's a good
singles?
question. I don't know. Maybe for this one, keep it sober. But then I feel like after that, we need to start implementing alcohol in some way.
Dinking and drinking, baby. Right?
Thinking and drinking. Ah, yeah, maybe. Let's leave that one up. We'll not make that decision quite yet. When it comes,
Okay.
because I don't know when this is actually going to happen. But when it gets closer to actually happening, we can make the call on if it's going to be a dinking and drinking match.
Okay. All right. Well, when are we going to do this, man? Because I don't know when I'm going to be in Michigan again. I don't know if you guys are allowed to leave Michigan right now.
Yeah, we're not allowed to leave our house even. No, it's
Right.
not. It's not that bad. But yeah, that's a good question. I don't know. I don't know when it's going to happen. But as soon as we have a good idea of when it's going to happen, we will make sure everybody knows.
Can I make one
And
more request?
yeah,
We can do it indoor, outdoor, but indoor it has to be on a tennis court surface.
okay. Yeah, I agree with that. Like I've grown to appreciate tennis court versus gym court a lot over the past year. So like
Yeah.
I yeah, I'm starting to lean more towards the pickleball snob side. I get it now.
Well, I think dinking
um
on a gym court it's a different game. Like it would just
it is.
yeah, and it's not something I'd be able to practice. I just don't think it would be a fair matchup.
Yeah, I agree. Like I will still gladly play on a gym court surface if that's my only option throughout the winter and stuff like that. But yeah, I know like for you that's not really much of an option. So I agree. Yeah, it can if it's indoor, it's got to be tennis court surface. I am down with that.
Okay. All right. So either outdoor or indoor on tennis court surface. I like it.
Yep, yep. And actually, if you come to Michigan, there's two brand new state of the art indoor dedicated pickleball places not too far from where I live opening up soon. And I might actually be doing the I might be attending the grand opening event to one, maybe even two of them in the next month or two. And
Nice.
if I do, you can expect a video to be released to show off the facility.
I like it. I like it. Yeah, starting November 15th, I don't go to Michigan unless I like absolutely have to until like April or May. So have fun with that.
It's understandable. Understandable. I get it.
Although this time of year I love in Michigan. This is my favorite time of year in Michigan. The weather is amazing.
Oh yeah.
I got
Yeah, I
married
love
up there
fall.
this time of year. It's great.
Yeah, I love early fall in Michigan. The month of October, you never know what to expect here in Michigan. It could be 80 degrees one weekend, it could be 30 degrees the next. You just never know.
So our wedding was 13 years ago in one day. It was October 6, 2007. And we were worried because it was an outdoor wedding. We were worried potentially about snow because it up in northern Michigan, you can get snow in October. It's not unreasonable. And I think it was what, like 93 degrees that day. Do you remember it was hot.
Yeah, like I was very surprised at how warm it was. Like we swam in your pool. I did not think any swimming was going to happen, but the outdoor pool at the place that we stayed got used quite a bit. That was very surprising. Um, man, yeah, you like the weather was awesome for an October wedding. That was awesome wedding or awesome weather.
Yeah, that we were just kind of talking about how lucky we were to get that. But I love that weather when you have those days that are,
Hmm.
I like it. I like October weather when it's like in the 60s, low 70s for a high. At night it gets down into the 50s. Like that's kind of nice weather.
Yeah, super comfortable. Like it's the kind of weather where like it's like the bed it just feels so good because like when the air is cool, it's got that crisp
Yeah.
air. It just makes the bed just feel so much more comfortable and hard to get out of. But then during the day, it's nice and warm. But in the morning and in the evening, it's got that real nice, cool, crisp air. I'm a big fan.
Yep. And then comes winter.
Ah, the dreaded winter.
I just threw up my mouth thinking about that.
Ugh.
Yuck. Ah, Webby, it's almost not. Actually, it's over 9:30 right now. Can you believe that?
Oh wow. Yeah, this is late for you. East Naples, Florida people.
I'm an old man. I'm cool with that. What anything else you want to talk about tonight?
No, I think that's about it. We covered a lot of great topics. We had an amazing podcast number 75 earlier with Callie Smith. And then how cool was that to be joined by Andrew from Pickle Pints here on this milestone night for us at the beginning of Dinking Around. I love this Dinking Around show because like it's so chill. We just do whatever. I mean, he just dropped in for like 15, 20 minutes and then he was gone and then we just continued on. I mean, I love that. Like I love the fact that the show is so free and open and we just don't know what's going to happen. And it's always so much fun.
Yeah, I agree, man. Definitely enjoy doing this. A lot of great things have come from Dinking Around and it's just super chill. It's so much less work. You know, I always joke that Webby and I spend 90% of our time to 95% of our time prepping for a podcast and 5% on Dinking Around. So,
right. Yeah.
Yeah. We didn't really plan anything. We just kind of go with it.
Yeah. Sometimes we're like, do we have like one or two topics we can talk about for Dinking Around? All right, cool. Let's do it.
Let's do it.
That's all the prep work for Dinking Around. But I love it.
That's right.
It's so cool. But we're getting more and more people interested in joining us. We've actually got a couple of really good guests that want to join us for Dinking Around coming up. I'm not going to reveal them quite yet. I'll give a little teaser for one that's coming up. She is a very well-known radio morning show host. How cool is that?
That'd be awesome, man.
It's something I'm looking very forward to. I actually just recently found out that she is a fan of pickleball. And I reached out to her, and she loved the idea about coming on the air with us to talk about it. She's fairly new to it, but she still loves it, and I love that fact. I love talking to people that are new to the sport that love it. Just like when Chris Draper and Dan Cleary joined us. I mean, they've only been playing for 4 months, and like we said earlier, they are two of the most passionate people I know that play this game. I mean, they've only been playing for 4 months. They play as much as they possibly can, in addition to working with the Red Wings organization, and they're in the middle of a draft right now, but still pickleball is something that they prioritize to do as much as they possibly can. I mean, if that doesn't show how awesome pickleball is and how much it impacts people's lives, I don't know what is.
That's right. If you guys don't like pickleball, we've got 2 words for you.
You should like pickleball.
That's right. Well, another great show, Webby. This was a lot of fun. Guys, I want to let you know that in about 3 weeks is going to be our next podcast. It's because there's some really cool stuff going on here in the next couple weeks. But don't you worry when we come back with our next guest in a few weeks. It's going to be a good one, right, Webby?
Oh, yeah. We got a bunch of great guests lined up. I still can't believe it. We are so blessed and fortunate to have so many people that want to be on the show that are awesome and amazing. So just stay tuned. This is milestone episode 75, and I feel like it's just going to keep getting better from here.
That's right. 25 away from 100. And on that note, I'm Eddie.
And until next time, this is Webby, not Eddie, signing off.
See ya.